to our next of the day, and it is the fifth that we're going to be previewing here from Trentham. Here's a look at the market. Lucetta is at 460, 175, 560 and 180. Matt Cameron rides. Stephen, Matt spoke well of this horse earlier in the day, Lucetta, but it is a loose favourite.
Pretty competitive market, option 405 over the 2-4. Emily, headed by Lucetta, $4.60. Pretty solid in that top line of betting, but almost a default fave when we were pricing this particular meeting or this particular race during the week. In front of Diamond Belt at $5, again solid in that second line of betting. Johnny Lincoln for the Lisa Ladder stable at $6.50, fits in that third line of betting. The best lead and best back runner is number 5, Red Rascal, Emily. $7.50 in that fourth line of betting off a peak of $9, and that includes a $1,000 bet at the $9 price. So ever consistent Red Rascal without winning too many. I think three wins from about 30 odd starts around this individual, but Lisa Allpress does the riding here to get none better than her. So best lead in a competitive race, Red Rascal at a $7.50 quote.
Bevan, can we make a case for Red Rascal off the back of that money, or all about something else?
Well, I've been making a case for Red Rascal for about 2 months, Emily, and just runs into traffic problems, and he over-raced one day here at Trentham and sort of took himself out of the race. He can win, but there's about 6 or 7, I think, that can win this particular race. I've got a lot of time for a horse called Constant Barrage here for Jeff Haig. I think he's the match of high quality, maybe even a better horse than high quality. I think his quote is very attractive. He flew home over the 1,600 metres the last time with a 15.50. Johnny Lincoln is a real staying type of horse. You've got Diamond Belt, who I think is a great chance in this particular race as well. Let's have a look at Constant Barrage. Now, this over the 15.50, he's a horse like high quality. I've just been prepared to wait 18 months, 2 years before really getting serious with him. This is the race taken out by Miss Doherty. Now, just watch the horse come to the outside. Now, they rode him back. He still showed a little bit of greenness. He just wanted to hang in behind the runner just in front of him. But just watch the last bit of his work here. I think he's a stayer all day, this particular horse. And I know he's first time 2,400 metres from the 15.50, and he may improve out of this, but he's a horse I've been following for a long period of time, and I think he'll love these track conditions here this afternoon. So I'm going to have him as some value, and he's part of my betting strategy on the afternoon. Here's Johnny. Watch Starry Beale. Best bet for the Marsh team, I think, up north today. And Johnny's a big horse, and he'll love the 2,400 metres. He'll stay all day. Red Rascal got back this day and boomed home nicely enough. But, yeah, Johnny looked home at this point, and then Starry Beale comes out and goes ping. That's a lovely performance by the winner, but a good performance from Johnny as well. Red Rascal made up some good ground, but just as things go against him on so many occasions, capable enough. I'm going to go with value, Constant Barrage. Over the 6, Lucetta, who I thought very good winning its most recent start. Johnny Lincoln's in the mix, and the 1, Diamond Belt. A couple of kilos off there. Chased home a nice horse in Victitious last time. In my betting strategy, I'm going to back both of those horses, Diamond Belt and Constant Barrage, $25 on both of those. I think we'll make a profit there in race number 5 on the afternoon.
Thanks, Bevan. Let's get you along to the 6th on the card from Trentham, and it does attract quite a big field here with a number of starters. Portland Jimmy being the best backed at 3s, 125, 410 and 160. Stephen, as we get to you, Jonathan Park's already off to a winning start. He's got a good book of rides. How do you rate Portland Jimmy in the 6th?
Has to be a leading chance. I know the stable rate Portland Jimmy. Just questionable about on the slow 8 track conditions. The fact that when we've priced up Portland Jimmy early this preparation, they have withdrawn this horse on the back of rain affected tracks until they made a debut first up performance at Waverley, which was on a far better track than what it's going to face later on this afternoon. So a $3 price tag with some key scratchings coming out during the week on Portland Jimmy. Again, not friendless, but they are speaking a fair few in this particular race over the 1,400 metres. Emily Ozil on that second line of betting, well supported at $4.20. Scarloey at $5.50. Always respect the unbeaten galloper, even though it's only had the 1 start for 1 win. It was also unbeaten at the trials, number 3, with Sam Spratt doing the riding. Artis in that 4th line of betting has the wet track credentials at $7 off a peak of $6.50. But again, that's not friendless. It's just to tighten up the overall percentage in this particular market. And also speaking a few here at double figures, Platinum Wildcard 12 into 10, Tipperary Mary, who appreciate the slow 8 track conditions, 18 into 15, and also Mick Genie third up, could be an improver, 46 into 35. So Yep, they are prepared to just back a few against Portland Jimmy at a $3 price, so early indications that price might be a little bit short, but that's what the punters are telling me.
Bevan, Portland Jimmy maps pretty well in the speed map. I notice you've got a number of replays to look at here. Is that sort of maybe an indication that you're split between a few runners?
Well, I think there's talent in here, Emily, I really do. Portland Jimmy, I've got massive concerns around the track conditions here this afternoon. He's a free-going horse who I think would have liked a lot better track conditions. You've got a horse like Scar Louis, who is really good at Otaki, I think okay in these track conditions. Otil's back into a grade where he should be very, very competitive. And here he is at his most recent performance behind Lady Cartel. Now, if you remember way back when, and I think Mick mentioned it on the first call yesterday, 12 months ago or so, he was beating Gifted Power at Awapuni from last. He won that 2-year-old race at Wairoa, where all sorts of form came out of it. He's a horse that might struggle to keep a lot of condition on, so he has to be pretty careful with him, but this just suggests that he's not far away back to his best. He comes back into a rating 65. Thought he was a pretty strong sort of bet, although the 60 kilos is a slight concern to me. Here's Portland Jimmy. Now this is the performance at Waverley. Now make no mistake, he's probably a little bit over the top on this occasion because he'd missed a run at Otaki when the races were called off. He missed a run at Awapuni when they were ready to go when it was too wet. And so he'd been sitting there and waiting. He got to Waverley on a warm day, a good 2, and he blew to pieces. He is a good horse. I've got big concerns around the track conditions with him. And overnight, I changed my mind not to have him in 4. If it was a good 3, I'd have him on top. These track conditions really do concern me with him this afternoon. And here's Scar Louis. Now, this is a performance because he missed away this day. Jonathan had to hunt him up. He stole a couple of runs towards the inside, and then he got them to the centre of the track. I'm not sure how strong the form line is in this race, but he really rounded them up late and on the back of a couple of trials where he was very, very good. I like him a bit. I'm going to follow him. I think he's a really progressive horse, this Sam. Spratt rides for Colin Cromedy today. He's got that big, long, open, wide straight to wind up, and he's got a bit of attitude. You see him really trying near the line, and he was soft late, and he's brave. So he's going to go on top for mine. Over Odzul, I've got a bit of time for one right down the bottom of the book. I think you get some value around the 14 Tipperary Mary, who was good through one day at the Carnival. I thought had no luck last time, and is a horse that I think can win this race. And then I'm also towards the bottom of the book with, in fact, the 11 comes out, Satin Belt. So I'll be with the 6 Lincoln Hills. He's another upsetter in the race. Saw this all too hard horse win at Tauhera Nekio. He had a bit about him that day. Honestly, I think they've had some issues with him, but he's much better than his form reads. I'll go 3, 1, 14 and 6 in race number 6.
Thanks, Bevan. Let's get you along to the 7th. It is the Milan Park Premier Race 7 over 1,600 metres. Pont Alma is the favourite. Pont Alma, 360 and 570. What's the interest been like on this horse, the number 11 in the market?
There is some support, Emily, but again, they're speccing around this particular runner, as well as Lodi. Lodi's been a notable drifter, probably unpredicted from us here in HQ. Lodi, $4.80 out to $6 on a horse that does tick a slow 8 box, Lodi. So for whatever reasoning, that is friendless in the market and betting Lodi. At $6 price, you see there the totalizer at $11. Pont Alma $3.60, like I mentioned, pretty solid, but again, they're looking to shop a few here. Collins Street in that third line of betting, $7. We've accepted a $700 bet at that price. Nirvana and Fearless, now a couple of maideners going up against race winners here, being the special conditions race. They've been notable shorteners. Nirvana, $8 off a peak of 10, and Fearless, $9 off a peak of $12.50. Both of them attracting a number of $100, $200, $300 bets, and a little bit of specking around number 12, Rely on Me. So, yep, there's about 4 or 5 they're looking to spec in what normally is a difficult race to assess the special conditions.
Bevan, as we get along to you, another big field we've got here. Collins Street is one of 4 horses that have won last time, and I know you can make a bit of a case for it in this 7th.
Yeah, you can, Emily. This is the money-making race going forward over the next 2 or 3 weeks. It's got good quality. This is Collins Street. He was unlucky the prior 2 runs, and then on this occasion at New Plymouth, he just canted up and put them away like they were standing still. He did run a very good last 600 metres on this occasion, so he's got a lot of ability as a race winner, and he really stretches out. He's a horse that you need to follow out of this particular race going forward as well, but I think there's a hatful. Nirvana's another one for Jamie Lee Lupton. Now, this horse has been beaten by a couple of really nice horses. Ignored for the Baker and Forsman team beat it 2 starts ago, and they put the blinkers on. It got just done on the line, and this is Austria, who had been unlucky. Not this day. You see Nirvana coming through in the gap in between the rail horse and the 3-out horse, and Austria gets right to the outside and just gets Nirvana. He's a bit of a dummy, Nirvana, but he'll be on speed, and Jonathan Parks aboard. You'd have to think that Nirvana's a chance from an awkward sort of gate. And Pond Alpa is the horse that comes out of that very good form race at Te Rapa and then goes to Te Araha. And it was all over a long way from home here in the hands of Opie Boston. And he keeps the ride here this afternoon. The form into that Rhinestone Cowboy race was outstanding. It was well backed on this day, back on the 13th at Te Araha, and it really gave you no heart flutters in the run to the line. Opie was just winding this horse up as it got to the line. It's got a gate to use this afternoon, 56 kilos, there's no major impost, so it's going to be on top for me, the 11. Over the 1 Collins Street, I think he's a big player in the race, the 4 Nirvana, and then I've looked towards the 12 Rely On Me. Go back if you get the chance before this race runs and watch that horse's performance at Waverley. I thought the $5 around Rely On Me was quite a nice little bet, Emily, in race number 7.
Thanks, Bevan. The feature is next. That's the 8th on the card from Trentham. It is the Group 1 Captain Cook Stakes. John Snow, 350, 155, 410 and 210. Stephen, that's a significant move. We saw Dance favourite earlier on and then joint favouritism, but now John Snow clearly ahead.
Yeah, that's just happened in the last 5 to 10 minutes around John Snow, Emily. $3.80 equal favourite with Dance. It's now sitting at the top line by himself, John Snow, at $3.50. A number of 4-figure bets. He is the best back runner at Trentham over the 9-race program, which I mentioned at the top of the show. Dance is still solid in that second line of betting at $3.80, including a $4,000 bet at the $4 price. Darscape Princess Friendless, $6.50 trading off a shortener of $4.80. Ocean Emperor, bit of a move here in 1 full point, $9.50, now trading at 8.5. Now, our Aberdeen came in for some significant betting as soon as we opened on Wednesday afternoon, including an $800 bet and a $500 bet at 17. So you now see the mare trading at $10. So a decent move in that middle market, but overall the best back runner has been the Class Galloper wearing the number 1 saddlecloth, John Snow.
And Bevan, as we get along to you for the Captain Cook Stakes, it is the one that we're looking forward to today. Where is your heart lying with regards to the field? Who do you want to see win?
Well, I hope John Snow wins because he's the quality horse in the race who's got weight for age form and form in behind Winks. Now, this is the trial recently. Now, this pricked a lot of people's ears up, and I know they're quite confident in the north on John Snow. You also see Al Aberdeen, who I think is a major player in the race as well, but he's got a bit of quality. We know his abilities. He's a top-class galloper. Al Aberdeen chases him home, but this really pricked my ears up on John Snow. Al Aberdeen, I think this horse is flying. She is just surprising us race on race, really, so I think it really has to be in the mix. Here's Ocean Emperor. This is the last start performance at Tauranga. Now, Ocean Emperor, Darscape Princess both run identical sectionals home. Darscape Princess, more of a 2,000 metre horse, and she does need good ground, so she would have been in my first 4, possibly as my second selection if it had been a good 3 this afternoon, but I'm very concerned around the track conditions for her. She does like to ping off good ground, but he shows a good turn of foot to Ocean Emperor, and he has been very, very capable on the rain-affected track conditions, so he has to be right in the mix. His draw's a little bit awkward, the 11 here this afternoon. Dark Princess is one of the up-and-comers in this particular race. She got wet track conditions this day in good company here at Trentham. You see Authentic Paddy on speed, and you'll also pick up Dolcetto. Dolcetto actually in the Sylvia K colours, 3 out, not back towards the inside. And look, there's a big swing in the weights back towards Dolcetto out of this particular performance. So I did prefer Dolcetto this afternoon over Dark Princess, but there's nothing to say that Dark Princess can't win with what she has been doing this preparation. Raw Impulse runs second, was a little bit disappointing in the Wanganui Cup recently. And the other one to show you was clearly Dance, or Dance. She's a quality horse. They put her in this race without an extra run under her belt, and gee, she was unlucky. Just took that little moment to clear some air, and once she did, she really, really flew. Look, 1,600 metres, I think that suits her nice. If you go back through her career, she's been in some good, nice, strong races and really, really competitive. She may be the big upsetter in this particular race and the real progressive horse coming out of it. She's been lightly handled by the Gibbs team, and I expect her to run a really good race here this afternoon. I am going to be with the senior horse, that being John Snow, at weight for age conditions. Got a lot of time for Dolcetto this afternoon. I thought you got a Nova's price early there, and still at this present moment, Dance is certainly in for third, and then outside of that, I thought our Aberdeen had to be in the mix as well. I left out the two girls down towards the bottom of the book here, Emily, but they could just be the surprises in this particular race.
They sure could. You're right there. Let's get along to the final race on the card before we get to race 2 at Trentham. It is the 9th, meeting code of 4. Lincoln Raider, 421.70, 672.90. Stephen, what's this market telling us, apart from really looks like just interest on the 4?
Cracking betting race, and that's what I'm seeing with a flow of money on a number of runners, Emily. Headed by number 4, Lincoln Raider, $4.50 into $4.20. Well supported, the Lisa Ladder galloper. De Gaulle well supported during the week, 11.50 into 8. I'll be hoping this horse actually wins, Emily. A couple of owners here, work colleagues, Grant Nisbet and Paul Moati, have a share in this horse, and if it does the business, we'll be getting a lunch shout next week. But back onto the market, Wafer well supported, also on that second line of betting at $8. Get Sharota, I think Des Coppins tipped this individual out this morning. Currently a heavy liability on Get Sharota, 11.50 into 11. Neeson well supported, a $500 bet on Neeson, and Rock on Eve shares that same line of $14 with Neeson, also a $500 bet on that particular runner. So there's 4 or 5 they're well speccing in this particular race, but Lincoln Raider heads the market, $4.20 top line fave.
What about for you, Bevan? What are you thinking of doing in the 9th, the Go Racing Premier?
Oh, I love Lincoln Raider. I think he's a very, very smart horse. I didn't think he had any chance with his run last start, but he still managed to fly home. So he's going to be my bet of the day. I did have De Gaulle on top of him, but I'm going to flip that round and say with the improving track conditions, he will win the 4 in the book. Here's De Gaulle. I think every tick of the clock on this track dries out. Aidan did speak to Jonathan after the first. He thought it was slow 8 verging on slow 7, so maybe just continuing to improve, and that probably plays against De Gaulle. But the Jeff Lynns and Matthew Cameron combination are very, very hard to beat when they get together. Mauna Kea in front of it goes around in the Group 1 here this afternoon, so the form lines are good. And here's quickly Lincoln Raider before we have a look at the horses in the parade for race number 2 here at Trentham. He was amazing here 2 starts ago when winning, and then he went to Awapuni, got shuffled back, he got into traffic problems, as you're about to see. But just look at the last bit of his work. He is pretty sharp now. I know Aidan thought he was a group horse in waiting on the first call yesterday, and I'm not going to disagree. I think this is a very, very progressive horse. What sort of group level he gets to, I'm not sure, but I think he'll find a spot in one of those big races at some point. So I'm going to change my selections there and have Lincoln Raider on top over De Gaulle. I think this track is drying too quickly for him. 10 Jessie G is an interesting runner in the race. She's at the right place in her preparation to run a race this afternoon. And my favourite horse around the traps, the Ripper, the Gunslinger. Forgive his last start run, he does have a good chance in the last on the programme. So here's a quick strategy for you. I'm going to put 50 to win Lincoln Raider late on in the programme. I'm going to have 25 to win in the same race on Diamond Belt and Constant Barrage. My best bet on the programme is Lincoln Raider. My value bet is Rely on Me in race number 7 at a big quote.